All righty, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, professional wrestling fans. Welcome once again to the most swag out, the most entertaining, the most enthusiastic pro wrestling podcast around and on social media. As once again, for the 13th time, don't call me that your boy Ric Flair, but you have now entered
Woo!
you have now entered into another edition of Ring Psychology. We have got an awesome program for you here tonight. We are going to be talking about some of the drama that's been going around in the pro wrestling business for the last week or so, mainly one Jey Uso um, and his, I guess we'll say, shocking exit of WWE and the whole development surrounding that.
You muted yourself, bro.
Oh, sorry. My bad, fans. No, I was saying, as well as other things that have been going on in the business over the past couple of weeks that have really just made us raise our eyebrows. And we're going to touch on all of that here in a second. But before we do that, you know how we do here on Ring Psychology. We have to introduce ourselves because, we might have some new viewers, some new fans tuning in tonight, and we want them to know who we are. So, first and foremost, let me introduce myself. I am the voice with the choice. I am one of the livest dudes walking on planet Earth. If you don't believe me, just ask, my two colleagues here, and they will definitely tell you what I'm all about. But if you don't know, they call me Two Live Brew. And of course, I could not go on this journey by myself, as I will introduce to you my esteemed colleague here to my left. He is one of the greatest minds in professional wrestling, one of the best creative minds. He could basically create a chicken salad from chicken soup if he wanted to. And he's basically going to tell you like it is, whether you want to hear it or not. So, without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, you already know who it is. I call him Jim Cornette's African American grandson, but he is his own mind. He is one of one. He is Jay Anderson, Mr. Worldwide, going co pilot with me here tonight. What's going on, sir?
And might I add, I laid down for nobody.
For
Okay.
nobody. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, y'all might be noticing, the broadcast is a little different tonight. Our dear brethren, Dre Cole, the man with the Midas touch, the man with, the most swag, the tribal chief of, music production and all of that. You noticed it's only two of us here tonight, but my brother is not going to be here tonight. He's got some stuff he needs to take care of, but we are here keeping the ship righted. We're still navigating it, and I'm pretty sure he is going to be back with us next week. Matter of fact, I have no doubt in my mind he's going to be back with us next week. So yeah, we're gonna hold it down for our brother Dre Cole, Dre Gold. Fans, don't worry. You know what I'm saying? He's all right. He's good, and he will definitely be back in action next week.
And he's still the tribal chief.
Okay. I don't know what's going on with my mic today. My mic doesn't want to acknowledge me, but it's going to acknowledge me. Yeah. I just had to throw that little LA Knight preference in there. Sorry. Yes, I'm Mark. I can't help it. I can't help it. So sue me. But anyway, with that being said, Jay, let's go ahead and get right into the thick of things, and let's talk about this Jey Uso story and this whole fiasco with him leaving WWE. I definitely have to say, SmackDown Live last week was one of the more um, dramatic endings to a show that I've seen. And I really love the way that they set this whole thing up, with oh man, and just like that, first topic of the show, one of our most loyal viewers and fans, Trevor Jordan, is in the house. Trev, what's going on, man? We getting right into the thick of things. Thank you for joining us as always. We definitely appreciate you, no doubt. But as I was saying, Jay, it was one of the more dramatic endings to a SmackDown Live that I've seen in a long, long time. You know, Jay was out there with Roman, or no, I'm sorry, it was Jimmy that was out there with Roman because it was supposed to be Jimmy, I guess, acknowledging Roman for helping him retain the Undisputed Championship at SummerSlam. And it almost ended up being a mini family feud, if you want to call it that,
Uh-huh.
because the little, I guess, acknowledgement didn't last too long before Jay Uso's music hit, and he came out and basically said, I know you did it, and if you lie to me, I'm gonna stick this boot inside your mouth. And basically, and basically, Jimmy was like, "Yeah, I did it." I was surprised that how clean he came and said, "Yeah, I did it." He took the Rikishi philosophy. I did it for The Rock. I did it for the people. I did it because I love you, and all of this other stuff. So, just seeing how that whole thing developed. What were your thoughts about it? Just with Jimmy coming clean and giving the reason why he did it.
So what I will say, and to quote my grandpa too, so first my thoughts. I thought it was beautiful. I think we talked about this even offhand. Like I thought, it was a completely fresh addition to a wrestling storyline, and that I can appreciate. I'm no stranger to my opinion, as we all know. So
Right.
I do feel like at times the bloodline does get very soap opera ish and just a little storyline heavy. And they kind of, in my opinion, book themselves into corners.
Mm-hmm.
However, this was perfect. Like this was like you would never see this coming. Never even thought that Jey Uso might just walk out. And I love that. I love that dimension that it adds to the story. This is what I was going to borrow from Grandpa Cornette here, but I as a wrestling fan, because I appreciated the direction that they went in, didn't really like the reasons that Jimmy gave. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Okay.
I love the direction, but I just the reasons to me were a little. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. You would have liked to see Jimmy kind of lean into the dastardly nature of what he did, and you know give a reason that would have made it, I guess, more believable in
mhm,
fans' eyes. Like, for example, if he would have said, like, straight up, like, yeah, you know I feel some type of way about
mhm,
you, going out here, poking your chest out, calling yourself the real tribal chief, and we're supposed to be a unit, and you're supposed to be holding us down, but it's all about you now. And ever since you pinned Roman at Money in the Bank a couple of months ago, your head done got too big. So I had to humble you. You know what I'm saying? That type of stuff, like on some real big brother type stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I would have liked to see him lean more into, because I think it's a little bit more spice there in that. Okay, it's a relatable storyline. It's simple, and it's pretty much something that certain siblings endure on a daily basis. Because I
right,
mean, you do have those siblings that do grow envious know what's going on, right?
You said
But
that dude grow envious and what?
yeah, that do grow envious when you reach, certain successes, or you reach
Yeah.
certain stages in your life. You deal with siblings that um, become that way, and because of that jealousy and that envy, they tend to do things that are not right, and they end up costing you, the person that did not provoke them to be that way, in the long run. So I
Hmm.
would have loved to see that part be the motivation of why Jimmy cost Jay the match. Oh man. Okay. Microphone, acknowledge me. But I was saying that I think them going this route of you know, Jimmy saying, okay, take four. Uh
And we're live.
and like, but with Jimmy saying that he did it out of love and that he didn't want him to turn out like Roman, I think that was a little too safe. I really think it was too conservative.
Yeah, and that's
Go ahead.
and I would have accepted that logic not immediately after it happened. Um, that could have been a very viable or plausible explanation had it just been them two in the ring, and maybe stretch it out some. Maybe have Jay Uso uh, film these backstage interviews. Like, I need to hear from my brother. Like, where's Jimmy at? I need to, or have Jay Uso chase Jimmy down, and you like Holt, like how that back in the day, Macho Man would come out and put a chair right in the middle of the ring and sit down. He's like, I'm not moving until, you know what I'm saying. Like, I would have liked Jay Uso could have even held up the
Right,
show until
right,
he got an explanation. Um,
absolutely.
that being said, like I said, I do like the direction in which they went, um, because it opens up the possibilities again. So just like how we're speculating, from a backstage standpoint, that's right where you want. You know, you
Right.
kind of don't want us to be like, okay, this is what's going to happen next week, or we know that this has to answer for what happened last week. Like, now, all
Mm-hmm.
of us are in the dark.
Yep.
You know, like, people, heck, people think that Jay Uso was Leatherface, but you know what I mean. Like,
Really? Do they really believe that?
oh yeah, man.
Oh man! Wow.
Well,
Super
I shouldn't say
marks.
people. Some people did, but
Super marks. Good grief. Hold on. I think Trevor has a comment here. Trevor says, "I feel the storyline." Okay, there we go. Trevor says, "I feel the storyline was ruined." He says Jimmy should have still been heel and made him more mysterious, appearing in the audience. What are your thoughts about that?
oh
That's a good.
man,
That's a good shout, by the way, Trevor.
oh yeah. You want me to go first?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, hey, we
Trev,
got we got time tonight. We live.
the
We got
the
time.
the bloodline storyline jumped the shark at WrestleMania when Roman Reigns defeated Cody Rhodes. Okay, what
Right.
we have now is filler until we get back there.
Mm-hmm.
So this is like the season 3 of everything. You
Ah,
know, we need to get back to season 4. And so, for in my opinion, everything that's going on right now is Roman Reigns has destroyed everybody else on the roster, and we are unwilling to bring in any stars that can be a credible threat. We can't forcibly make anyone from NXT a star overnight.
right.
So Roman Reigns, let's kill two birds with one stone. He wants to work with his family. Let's let him work with his family. It'll eat up the time until it's time for Roman to step back in there with Cody. But as far as like the bloodline, we've talked about that. Like, I don't think that it makes sense. I've said it before. Twins have to either go against each other, and they're
Mm-hmm.
getting old. You know,
Right.
so they're gonna do what they want to do. I don't really think that the storyline at this point really is going to add up.
Right.
anymore.
Right. And yes, Trevor definitely agrees with you, and he says you make a very good point. So let's transition to this part of the angle. So let's go ahead and move to the ending of SmackDown,
Okay.
where Roman is, belligerent Jay, and he's telling him like, I told you this time and time again, but you just don't get it. I am the tribal chief. Acknowledge me. And then all of a sudden, boom, super kick right in the face. Solo comes in for the attack. Jay evades that. Super kicks him. Um, you know, and Jimmy, mind you, is already halfway to the locker room.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it seems like, and I love the way, now I will say, Triple H and Creative did a masterful job pulling the strings here,
Yeah.
because Jay had a moment where you thought he had a change of heart, and you thought that,
Mm-hmm.
that brotherliness, that sibling love kicked in, and you thought to yourself, well, wait a minute, is he going to forgive him? Is he going to just let him back in? And this man literally cost him the biggest match of his career. On top of that, the biggest championship he probably could have won.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And, Jay picks up the mic and he's like, hey, come here, Jimmy, come here. So Jimmy's, of course, he's all happy and stuff. He's like, kind of doing the sigh of relief in his head, like, oh, okay, you know what I'm saying? I
Mm-hmm.
guess he did understand. I guess he does know that, I was trying to look out for him, and, it was out of love or whatnot. But no, Jey Uso pumped the brakes and basically swerved all of us. And as Jimmy is coming down the aisle, like they're 12 years old again in elementary school, Jay, instead of hugging him, gives him a super kick too. And the ovation, everything about this particular moment just, struck that crescendo to the T. And here's a little detail too, fans. This is another reason why I like this ending part of SmackDown so much. I love the camera shot. The camera shot was so raw, and it has so much authenticity and so much realism to it. When Jay got up in that camera and he said, I'm out. I'm out the bloodline, I'm out of SmackDown, and I'm out of WWE. And when he threw the two fingers up and he went into the crowd, you were like, holy S. Like, this dude really is walking out of WWE. Like, he's really leaving. And you just see that shot of him walking up the stands and just, throwing the, doing the Eminem, 8 Mile, ending
Mm-hmm.
scene with, throwing the deuces up or whatnot. And I was just like, whoa. Like, my face was like frozen, but shout out to the WWE camera crew, because that shot of Jey Uso in the camera telling everybody that he's out, like, that was just a really, really cool touch. Like, would you agree with that?
Yeah, like everything about that. There was one shot that I didn't like. However,
Okay.
everything about what you just said, 100%, like that played out masterfully. For me, it was a little soap opera ish in the shot right before that. I know you're
Hmm.
gonna remember this.
Hmm.
Jimmy Uso was in the background. Now,
Yeah.
the only thing that bothered me about it wasn't Jimmy's placing. It was that I could tell, and you know this as a broadcaster, but you could tell they were trying to inch that cameraman out of there.
Oh yeah.
And so
Absolutely.
for me, it was like, why isn't Jimmy Uso leaving?
Hmm.
It did make it seem like Jimmy was gonna run back down. But everything you said,
Yeah.
masterful, masterful. Yeah.
Right. Even with, like, Roman, seeming like he was gonna hit a spear on Jay,
Mm-hmm.
and Jay, reversing it and hitting the spear on him. Like, that was a cool little touch too. or whatnot. But yeah, like everything about that ending was just wonderful. Now, let's transition into, what's next, possibly coming out of this angle, or is it legitimate? Has Jey Uso's contract actually expired in WWE? Like, could this be like, a legitimate thing? Like,
Uh, I definitely so I definitely think his contract is expired.
okay,
However, there are ways like it's wrestling. Like it's not like banking where you know what I'm saying you got to follow these rules and whatnot. It's totally possible for them to either sign another contract for him to work or you know what I'm saying just be in
right,
um good standing with the company or just whatever it is in that hiatus period.
right.
So I don't think he's going anywhere. But yeah,
Okay, okay.
like I was trying
Well,
to
I'll
think.
say this. I'll say this. You know, uh, if this is indeed true
Mhm.
about I'm sorry, about Jay's contract being up, with that angle that they just did, that is a perfect way to write him off.
Oh
That
yeah,
is a perfect way. Like
oh
they
yeah.
they that was so smooth, and like I said, just masterful. How they played that whole thing out, blurring those lines, balancing, between, reality, and storyline. Like, great. That was just great. Um so with that being said, I also want to segue into, speaking of, people um, still with the company or coming back to the company. Um, Bray Wyatt has been in the headlines as of late. Um, I've been seeing quite a few articles over the past couple of weeks, and been seeing these little, fan posters of, him on the Payback pay-per-view. And I've been hearing, rumors that he may actually return on Payback. um, I don't know how much merit this has, but my question to you would be, if this is an actual thing and Bray Wyatt is actually coming back, what could Triple H possibly do to fix Bray Wyatt creatively as a superstar this time around?
Are
Because
we?
they've
Are we?
literally, what'd you say?
I was gonna say fix him for the damage that he's done to himself because none of
Well, I
that
mean,
creative is on the WWE. All of that is on Bray Wyatt.
okay, all right. Well, that's fair. Well, that's
So
fair.
this is
Well, how can they help? Well,
ring
let me
psychology fans.
right.
Nah, I understand the question.
Yeah, let me
This one.
rephrase it though. Let me rephrase it though. Since you put it that way, how can Triple H and creative help Bray Wyatt fix himself? Let's put it in that perspective.
First of all, my heart hurts for Brother Bray. Okay, and not for the reason why you think it is, but why it does. Sorry to sound like a grandpa here, y'all, but it it kills me that the grandson of Blackjack Mulligan cannot get over. It blows my mind. The nephew of Barry Windham cannot get over. The
Right,
son of Mike Rotunda cannot get over.
right.
Like it's almost like Bret Hart having a son and
Yeah,
the son can't apply a chokehold. You know what
and
I'm
he
saying?
actually does have a son, which is that's the wild part about it.
Well, no, I'm saying like if the son couldn't like
Oh,
apply a chokehold on like
right.
a teenager, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like Bray Wyatt to me has the genetics. He should like. I don't know what's up with his character. I know that that's all his creative. You know what I'm saying? Those are all his
right,
ideas. That's not how I would have booked him. I
right.
would have booked him as a third generation star.
Okay,
To me, there's no you can't get bigger than like saying the grandson of Mulligan, the nephew of Wyndham,
Barry Windham. Yeah.
that's on the same level as like a Brock Anderson. When Brock Anderson doesn't have to do anything in the ring for us to respect the name and the lineage that he comes from.
Right.
I don't respect Bray Wyatt. I respect his lineage, but creatively, like the Funhouse, Uncle Howdy, it's just the best thing that he did was when he was with Rowan and John Huber, the other dude. The what was
Luke
that called
Harper.
again?
Luke
Yeah.
Harper. Brody, aka Brody Lee.
What was that faction called? The Wyatt family.
The Wyatt family.
The Wyatt family prior to Randy Orton coming in it, that was good stuff.
Right.
Everything after that, trash. Alexa Bliss and Bray Wyatt, trash.
Oh yeah, that was like a huge like right tomato, like with him and Alexa Bliss. Like so I did not get that connection at all.
So as you were speaking, I actually looked it up. So I think he's gonna come back and bring back the Fiend. And if that is the case, it's more a merchandise thing than anything, because you know the Fiend was a seller.
Yeah, it was it was a top seller. It was indeed.
But it's almost like, okay, to answer your question, sorry to be long-winded, but to answer your question, it's like you're bringing him back to sell merchandise.
Right.
So he can do whatever.
Yeah.
You can put him wherever. Just don't mess up anything that's important.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And the last thing that I was going to say about this, and you kind of yanked it out of my mind. But I was going to say, this go round, if he is indeed returning to the company, would you bring him back and book him as Wyndham Rotunda instead of just Bray Wyatt? Like, do you give him a complete shift in character? Because I think that's very intriguing. You know, you bringing up, you know, the family heritage of, you know, the son of Black Jack Mulligan, the nephew of the great Barry Windham, you know, the son of Mike Rotunda, you know, like, would you just, what do you think, or would you suggest they just, you know, just completely repackage him as Wyndham Rotunda?
You almost, okay. So Bray Wyatt also, this is also the bad part of, no, I shouldn't say bad. That's old fashioned to me. Just newer days in wrestling, wrestlers are a lot more in communication with their fans. So we do know about Bray Wyatt's mental health issues. So a lot of what we see on television is what he's going through. The whole Uncle Howdy thing, that was just code word for like split personalities and all of that.
Yeah, like schizophrenia or something.
Right.
Okay. Bipolar.
So to me, even if Bray Wyatt were to say, not to go off on a tangent, but just if he were to debut in another company, you can't book him as Wyndham Rotunda, because Barry Windham, one of the, if not most underrated and just wrong place, wrong time talents in the history of the company.
Right.
But Blackjack Mulligan, like, when you think Blackjack Mulligan, like, he's almost in the Haku Harley Race conversation. Like, he's a tough guy.
Right. And let me say this: all you youthful ring psychology fans, quick history lesson. If you do not know who my esteemed colleague is talking about, Blackjack Mulligan was a legendary WWE wrestler that wrestled for Vince McMahon's father back in the WWF, and he was a multi-time tag team champion with his partner Blackjack Lanza, who also worked behind the scenes in WWE in the 80s as well as the 90s. Okay, continue.
Right, and I'll throw a little fun fact in there too. In the late 80s, Blackjack Mulligan was brought in as kind of like talent relations to oversee WCW, just because he was so tough. So they thought, like, say if Arn Anderson didn't want to do something, or if Ric Flair didn't want to do something, Blackjack Mulligan's job was to go stand out front of their dressing room and pretty much just make sure that they do it. So all of that to say, Blackjack, just that family has a history of being good workers or tough. So right. I don't get tough from Bray Wyatt.
Right.
I don't get a good worker from Bray Wyatt. So it would actually go against him to to present him as a member of his own family, and he kind of
Gotcha.
backed himself into that corner.
Okay. So basically, to sum it all up, you're saying if they were to bring him back, just don't reinvent the wheel, and if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, the Fiend has to come back and do whatever the Fiend was doing. Just find someone whose career can handle that. Like, he doesn't need to be with LA Knight. He doesn't need to be
No,
with a Bobby Lashley. Like, those are
or a
people,
Brock or anybody.
right? Or Logan Paul. He doesn't need to. Don't attach him to a rocket ship right now.
Right.
Just
Got you.
put him out there with the boys.
There you go. There you go. Okay. So with that being said, we're gonna transition into another interesting topic that's been going around in the headlines, and we just spoke of him just a few minutes ago, Triple H, who a lot of you wrestling fans know is the head of creative, and is a big reason why the on-air product is successful as it is. So there was a little, just a little thing going on about him being more uh, in creative full time, because I don't know if a lot of you knew, but Triple H was also working on the WWE board of directors. That's basically the people that see all the business and all of the financial stuff that goes on within the company, while also overseeing creative as well. Well, apparently, I don't know if Triple H just said this is too much or what have you, but there has been a change in that particular role for him, as he will now be full time concentrating on nothing but creative and the stuff that goes on in the ring. If you ask me, I personally think this is a really good move. Um, I think maybe one of the reasons why Triple H had some of those stumbles when it came to the product on air is because he was taking on so many roles. But I think with him being in one specific role now, I think we'll really get to see Triple H cook. Like, would you agree with that?
Yeah, and just to kind of talk in business terms, the role that Triple H serves in on the WWE board of directors currently kind of is made up. They made that role, that position up for him. It's essentially what he's doing now. So he's a chief content officer.
Right,
And that essentially in wrestling world means charge of creative.
right,
I'm excited to see what that means for the WWE, because again they are merging to form a new holding group with UFC. So that position on the board of directors, it's going to look very different. Vince McMahon, of course, is going to be in charge, unless things change.
right.
But Vince, that's in his contract. He will be in charge until he passes away or steps down.
Hmm.
Um, and then, of course, people from the UFC company are still going to maintain the roles. I know that Dana also is stepping down. So
Oh, okay.
it's not like a demotion thing, but they are usually with very large publicly traded companies, their board of directors are all CEOs of other companies. So like,
Right,
I wouldn't be surprised if like the CEO of Disney was on the WWE board of directors. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not so much a small level thing anymore. Because they're making it big, they have to work with other companies. Sorry, I'm not trying to lose anybody, but just like whoever the WWE partners with, stuff like that. Though that's who you're gonna see kind of fill that board of director table instead of it,
right,
being your wrestling guys.
right. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. He basically summed it all up, right there. So the last thing I'll say on that is, I'm just glad that H is not going to take on too much of a workload, and he'll actually be able to, shift his focus on one particular thing, and that is, like I said, the product, the action that
Mm-hmm.
goes on inside the ring and on our televisions every week. So kudos to him. Kudos to whoever came up with this idea of making the change. And like I said, now that he's able to shift his focus on one thing, I really think we're going to see Triple H work like here in the next couple of months, going, to the end of the year. So good on you. Good on you, H. Good on you. All right. So last thing that we are going to discuss here is our good friend, old Pepsi Phil, known to the world as CM Punk. Now, now, for those of you that don't know, let me bring you up to speed real quick. CM Punk has made headlines, which is no surprise. I mean, he's CM Punk, that's what he does. But he made headlines this time for a very controversial reason. So on last week's Dynamite, after the show had went off the air, apparently CM Punk had cut a shoot promo on Hangman Adam Page. All my AEW fans know who he is. And as behind the scenes, Punk and Hangman, they don't get along very well, as does, him and the rest of, the elite, Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, all of that, they don't get along. So I guess Punk took it upon himself to express how he really felt about Hangman Page in a video that had went viral and has caught the attention of not only fans but wrestling media and everybody alike. So real quick, Jay, I know this is no surprise to you, but just briefly, like, what are your thoughts about old Phil Brooks getting himself in hot water again, running his mouth?
Just to add to that, there's also the backstage fight with Jungle Boy and Ryan Nemeth.
Oh my gosh!
And
Wow.
another stir. He stirred something up because Colt Cabana was supposed to be at Ring of Honor, and they tape Ring of Honor after Collision, and he just made a mess of that. I don't know. I was a CM Punk fan back in the day, but since leaving, he has since leaving wrestling and coming back, he's just, to me, kind of a crybaby.
Yeah.
And he, to me, he doesn't deliver as much in the ring to be crying as much as he does.
Oh yeah, he's definitely past his prime. I mean, his best years are definitely past him.
Oh,
there's no denying that.
Behind.
There's no denying that. Like, and I agree with you. For a long time I was a big, CM Punk fan too. But I mean, this guy that we've gotten, this past year up until now, like, yeah, I'm not a real big fan of this guy. He just seems like, this bitter, grumpy old man, like, and everybody's on his porch, and he's the grandpa in the rocking chair outside, yelling at the children, get off my darn porch. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
Come on, like, really? You're supposed to be a quote unquote icon and a leader and like a trendsetter for younger talent coming up. And it's like, ever since these 7 years that you've been away from the business, now that you've made your return, it just seems like you just come back like bitter. Like, I don't know if it's, deep down he knows that the business has passed him by and it's not the same, or having to adjust to, the modern style of wrestling and the new wave of young talent that's coming up now. I mean, I don't know what it is, man, but I do know it's bitterness though.
What I will say, I disagree. I don't think it's bitterness. I think that well, number one, just the facts being the facts, CM Punk did win AEW their first $1 million house. CM Punk did pop their ratings the way that MJF and Adam Cole are starting to do. So CM Punk is the biggest star that AEW has.
Yeah.
And I say that even when Cody was there.
Right.
So when it comes to like the press scrum and the fight, I take CM Punk's side. He was 100% right and justified in everything.
Okay.
However, um, does that disqualify him from being a crybaby? No, he's still a crybaby. Yeah, he was right in everything that he said about the business and the Young Bucks. In my opinion, I agree with him.
Okay.
However, there's a way to go about it.
Yeah.
So it's almost like Bret Hart holding on to that grudge with Goldberg. Like,
Mm-hmm.
dude, let it go. And what you're saying, I do believe. I agree with you, just in a different light.
Yeah.
AEW is not for CM Punk.
No.
So he's that guy that won't leave the job, but just hates everybody that works there, hates how they do everything, but he's gonna clock in every day. That
True.
gets annoying. Like, go
Right.
leave. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Obviously, you're not good enough to cut it up north. So chill out on the guys that you do have. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And don't be so divisive, because that's what I like. I feel like it's almost like a civil war. It's collision against dynamite. And
Oh, it is.
that's not a business
It
thing.
is.
Now, Tony, it's not our job, but it's Tony's job to step in and either say, Punk, chill, or take the power away from the elite and start fresh. But they got to do something, because
Right.
it's making everybody look bad. And it's just making them all look like kids, really.
Pretty much. Yeah. I wanna get to a comment that Trevor had put
Yeah.
up here. He said that he met Punk at a comic book convention. I'm assuming this was like a few years ago. And he says that Punk being with WWE was safer for him, in my opinion. Now,
Mm-hmm.
that I will agree with off the strength of the point that you just made of where, you know, I don't think, especially judging by these past two incidents that he's gotten into, that AEW is a good fit for Punk. I really believe that when Punk was making his decision to come back into the business, I think that, if he had to go make things right with Vince and H, he should have done that, should have met up with him, made things right. And I think he probably would have been better suited in WWE because apparently, like, his perspective and philosophy in AEW is just not sitting right with a lot of the talent,
Yeah.
and he needs like you said, either he needs to chill out, or he needs to just swallow that pill and just accept the fact like this is reality, like this is how the business is, or he can get the hell on. I
Yeah.
mean, it's really that simple. Like
I
it's
love
not.
the word you use. You said philosophy. Like, I love that.
Yeah, I mean it's not that hard. Like if you don't like what's going on, have a meeting with Tony, get out of your contract, and go back to WWE. I'm pretty sure Triple H would be salivating to have Punk back now. In WWE, especially the momentum that they have. Like yeah, they would give anything to get
Yeah,
that man back.
especially just to stick it to AEW.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, we know how H is. As far as
A grudge.
yeah, absolutely. But we will see what comes of this story. I don't know if there's going to be any consequences or anything of that nature. Knowing Tony Khan is probably not. He'll probably just get a slap on the wrist, and that'll be
Yeah.
that. But we'll keep an eye out on this story and see how things develop. Uh, Leading up to All In and All Out in just a couple of weeks, coming up. But yeah, CM Punk needs to either get with it or get gone. So that's how I feel about that. But ladies and gentlemen, the time has come for us to put a bow on this 13th edition of Ring Psychology. Shout out to Trevor as always, for tuning in, commenting. You definitely contribute to the show. You definitely make the show interesting, Trev.
Yes,
Keep
sir.
doing what you're doing. And go tell your friends, man. If you got friends, Trev, that love pro wrestling, and if they want to hear pro wrestling from a different perspective instead of like, the Channel 9 news cookie cutter way that all the other media outlets deliver it, tell them to tune in to Ring Psychology. Tell them to, look us up on Facebook, which you should do anyway. Look us up on Facebook, follow the fan page. We're going to be broadcasting on YouTube, here soon, if we're not already right now. So yeah, just tell them, like, you got to listen to Ring Psychology, man. Follow us on TikTok, the Ring Psychology Podcast, man. It's real simple, you know. But yeah, man, shout out to you, Trevor. Good stuff. So we're gonna go ahead and get on up out of here. Gonna go ahead and give you these links to where you can find us. I'll go first. Of course, you can start off with Facebook for me. It's my name, George Kennebrew. My last name is spelled Kenebrew. If you want to find me on Instagram, I am livest_1. That is the word one, not the number, underscore living. And lastly, if you also want to reach me on TikTok, I am Special K underscore 0788.
Yes, sir. And as always, I am on YouTube. My link is in the comments if you're on Facebook, but you can type in the @ Play the Smackdown. That's at Play the Smackdown on YouTube. WWE 2K and AEW Fight Forever video games like you've never seen them before. Yes, sir. That's where you can find me.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, definitely go check him out on his channel. Got some really good stuff. I've had an opportunity to catch it. Really, really good. And even though he's not here with us tonight, y'all go follow our brother Dre Cole. I am Dre Cole is basically everything for him. Although it is, hold on, let me rephrase before, because he's gonna kick my butt if I don't do this. On Facebook, it's just Dre Cole. But as far as Instagram and TikTok goes, I am Dre Cole. Let me let me make that clear. Big brother come on here real quick and be like, hey man, don't be giving out no wrong information, man. Like, to fix that. So we did it, Dre. We fixed it.
We got you.
We got you. We got you, brother. We got you. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So with that being said, we're gonna chunk the deuces up at y'all, and we're gonna catch y'all next week. And hopefully we will have Dre Cole back in the lineup as well. Once again, we thank y'all for joining in. Don't forget to go follow and tune in to the Ring Psychology Facebook page. And until next week, we're out of here.
All right, y'all. Peace.